So welcome to today's Promoting Positive Practices. Today we're going to be going over daily schedules, specifically visual schedules. My name is Lexi Langiri. I am the Quality Initiatives and Professional Development Manager here at the Early Learning Coalition, and I am your trainer today. I'll have Ms. Shai come on soon. She's one of our transformative professional development coaches here at ELC as well. She'll be helping to monitor the chat box and sharing resources with us all during today's session. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to drop them in the chat as we go through today's content. And so before we get started, let's just do a quick feelings check-in. You can either unmute yourself and tell me which number you think you're feeling today, or put it in the chat box. I think for today, I'm gonna have to say I'm feeling a little bit mix of 1 and 2. A little tired, but a little happy too. Anybody else want to share how they're feeling today?
Well,
Virus, yeah.
I guess I would say a 5, curious.
Okay. Got 3 for excited.
I'm probably a 6. Calm.
Oh, good choice. Yeah. All right, thanks for sharing, ladies. Greatly appreciate that. All right, we're gonna just do some housekeeping real quick. So if you're able to unmute yourself as we go through today's session and verbally ask questions or verbally respond, that helps provide some nice engagement and discussions for us. You will know if you're muted or unmuted. If there's a red line through your microphone button, that means you are muted and I cannot hear you. If there is no red line on your microphone button, that means that you are unmuted and I can hear you. The same goes for our video. I went too far. Our video, if there's a red line through your camera, I cannot see you. If there's not a red line, I can see you. I understand, we've got different people in different places. So some people are helping with children in the classroom during nap time. If a student needs your help or your assistance, please attend to them first and foremost. Your kiddos are definitely our first priority here. And like I said, I'm recording today's content. This year, we are working to address more teachers by recording our training sessions, and we will be uploading them to our YouTube channel for later access. The only way to get in-service hours, however, is to attend these live sessions, and I'll explain at the end of today's session how to get your in-service hours. There is a chat feature down at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a little bubble with 3 dots in it. If you click that little bubble, that's how you'll be able to engage with us on chat. And this is what our chat box looks like. Some of us are familiar with Zoom, but not everybody is. So hopefully we're able to utilize it to its full potential. All right, so our objectives for today, we are going to define what schedules and routines are. We'll have a group breakout discussion to discuss what we currently see as successes and challenges in using daily schedules in our classroom. We'll explore some strategies for how to make and teach visual schedules, and then we will come up at the end with an action plan for you to use one of those strategies in your classroom over the coming weeks. Does anybody have any questions or concerns before we get started? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get us started with our define section. When we talk about early learning teaching practices, specifically for visual schedules, daily schedules, we want to make sure, especially for our infants and toddlers, that we are following a posted visual schedule for the group, but varying it when necessary. Obviously, if we work with infants specifically, their schedule changes almost on a daily basis, whether they're napping or whether they're having a bottle at different times than their peers. We want to make sure we're flexible, but meeting those needs for our students. And even a visual schedule for an infant can really help them visualize and understand what's next and what's coming up. We'll go through what developmentally appropriate schedules for infants and toddlers look like. Then for our preschool students, making sure that we have that visual schedule printed, laminated, posted at our children's eye level. That way they can look at it, touch it, really engage with it throughout the day. These early learning teaching practices are from a collaboration of a couple of different agencies. We created them here at the Early Learning Coalition through the class assessment, through the pyramid model observation tool that specifically addresses social emotional learning, and the Division of Early Childhood recommended teaching practices. So these are practices that we know when they're used in the classroom as intended tend to give positive outcomes for all children. Is anybody familiar with the class assessment? Let's see if I got my polls here. I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll. Yeah, I'd love to hear everybody's experience with using the class assessment scoring system. Give us just a couple more seconds here to respond.
I cannot recall. I take so many classes throughout the years. I think we did. Miss Mellon taught us class. I think I have familiar with.
Miss Marilyn from my school?
Yes, I was working there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's really familiar with class. I would be surprised if she didn't try to pass along that knowledge to her teachers. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end our poll and share our results here. And so we do have a mixture today. We've got about half of people who are familiar, one that's kind of familiar, and then two that are not familiar. So the class assessment tool is an observation tool that is used to measure teacher-child interactions. And so when we look at high quality teacher-child interactions, some certain things that we're going to see here specifically for daily schedules, it's going to help with that classroom organization. It is going to support behavior management in our classes and create that responsive caregiving to enhance those class scores. So when we think about daily schedules, this is how it's going to tie in, and this is why it's going to be important for us to use. Specifically for infants, we're going to be thinking through responsive caregiving and respect specifically for infant state by communicating our intentions in transitions or using respectful language to let them know what we're about to do with them before we do it. So for example, I'm going to pick you up so we can go get your diaper changed. Mm-hmm. For toddlers, this is going to help with emotional and behavioral support by teaching children what to do and how to engage in activities using either visual supports or verbal reminders or that positive reinforcement to help in those transitions. And then finally in preschool, we're going to be helping in that classroom organization by showing high productivity with clear instructions and little wandering so that children know what to do. So those short, simple instructions really help them know what to do. When we think about schedules, these are going to be how we organize our day. And this specifically is going to include our list of daily activities. We're going to look at some examples here shortly. But we also have, as part of our day, routines. And routines are going to be a specific series of behaviors within an activity itself. And these are going to occur regularly. So for example, our daily schedule might include morning meeting, nap time, lunchtime. Those are things that are going to be on our daily schedule. But when we think about a routine, this is going to be the set of behaviors for diaper changing or hand washing or going to the bathroom or getting ready for lunch. So when we think about schedules and routines, just kind of keep this in the back of our mind. We know that when we use daily schedules with children, we have a couple of different positive outcomes. Specifically, it's going to help provide some security and sense of what is about to happen next. Children will then be able to anticipate what will happen, and then therefore they're going to feel more secure. Specifically for children who are dual language learners or who have difficulty with change, that set schedule and that's anticipation of knowing what's about to happen really helps with them feeling that sense of security. When students know the behavior expectations about what's coming next, so if they know the next activity is about to be center time, they know what expectations are going to be coming for them. And then this is going to help us lower those behavior problems. When we use predictable and consistent schedules, children feel more secure and comfortable, which helps not only our new students, but all students within our classroom. And also those children who have problems with change or who have possible delays or disabilities, or again, who are our dual language learners. This is also going to promote engagement. So this gives children choices by creating balanced activities, individualized activities, and resulting in that higher level of engagement. And finally, social emotional development. When periods of play are longer, children engage in more complex social and cognitive play. Does anybody have anything they want to add for why daily schedules to you is important in your classroom, or it has a positive outcome in your classroom?
Well, I was teaching my preschool. I taught at 30 years, one classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And my school always let children know what's coming, even though you have a schedule, but you let them know like 5 minutes head up. Mm-hmm. We are going to do this next. I want to remember, and it's going to be cleanup time. So you give them a little bit of warning, and they're subconsciously they're ready. So when I ring the bell, they understood exactly what they need to do. So pre-K children, if you said, okay, time to clean up, it will not work very good. Just give them a little bit warning, and they much go smoother. The me it is. I did that many years.
Yeah, it really, really does. Thanks for that, Miss Ingram. I appreciate that. It really helps with that transition piece a lot. Telling them, oh, we're about to clean up, 5 more minutes, can help prepare them to wrap up their activity, or they can start cleaning up on their own. It really helps with that transition going a lot smoother. Does anybody else have anything they want to add here?
I think it just helps with, I just piggyback, and then I think it helps with like the anxiety, like children are, so they can have that moment to kind of gather themselves. So I think that it helps. It's kind of like within number one, like enhances feeling of security, which kind of minimizes that like anxiety of not knowing what will happen next.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even us as adults, we take comfort in knowing what we're going to be doing throughout our day and what time we're going to be doing it. And so students really thrive off of that as well. I wanted to check something. Okay, sorry about that. Wanted to make sure I was on the right space. Okay, so a couple of things to consider when we're thinking about our schedule. We want to make sure we have a couple components for a balanced schedule here. there's going to be requirements, and these are going to be things that we have to do at certain times of the day or throughout the day. These are going to be things like meal times, outside times, if your students take a nap, what time nap time is. These are requirements. We cannot really take them out of our schedule. These are things that students have to have, arrival time, departure time, that kind of thing. We also want to consider that our schedule has a balance of both active and quiet activities, and this helps children with self-control. So if we are outside and we have just finished lunch and we're about to transition inside to go to nap time, that really high active activity transitioning into a quieter activity can be a little challenging. So thinking through how can we transition from that active activity to a quiet activity. For example, we might do yoga or story time before we go to nap time. And just really being mindful of which activities you have on your schedule that are active, which are quiet. Make sure we have a balance of those, and make sure that when we're transitioning from either an active to a quiet or a quiet to an active, that the right supports are there for the students to make that transition. There are going to be some small groups and large groups in our activities. And so small groups, as defined by the pyramid model, are going to be defined as teacher-guided learning experiences in which children are asked to engage with specific materials or in activities or instruction that is planned. And this is going to focus on specific content directed by the teacher or possibly the assistant teacher. This is usually when we're going to address the content in our lesson plans. And so we're going to do that lesson plan execution. Compared to large group activities are going to be defined as teacher-guided learning experiences that involve all or almost all of the children in the classroom. So this is going to be our things like circle time, morning meeting, devotion, story time, chapel, if your site is a faith-based school. And so keeping a clear picture in your brain, which are these activities small group or large groups, and how am I going to balance the lesson plan versus what the children need. And that's going to lead us into our fourth part here, teacher directed versus child directed. This is where we see a lot of teachers don't quite have this balance. So this is a really important piece to think through as well when you're thinking about your own schedule. So child-directed activities are going to be learning experiences that occur in a preschool classroom that allow frequent opportunity for child choice and expression. This is going to be our free choice, our center time, our outside play, or other activities that we can use to allow the children to use materials how they wish to. So for example, art could be a child-directed activity if the children are allowed to create whatever they want with the materials that we give them. Versus a teacher-directed activity are going to be structured and led by the teacher with limited opportunities for choice or free expression. So this is going to be more of our circle time, our large group, our small group. This is important because I think a lot of the times we do so many teacher-directed activities, and then the students get bored because they're not having a choice in things. So just when you're paying attention to your schedule and you're reviewing your schedule, just keep that in the back of your brain. Is there a balance of teacher-directed and child-directed? Is there a balance of active, quiet activities? I think I have another poll here. Give me just a second. Oops, wrong button. No. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a quick game, and you can either unmute yourself or you can put T or C in the chat box. So I'm going to list off a couple different activities that we have throughout the day, and you're going to tell me if you think it's a teacher-directed activity or a child-directed activity. So for free choice, do we think that that's a child-directed activity or a teacher-directed activity?
Free choice is a child-directed activity.
Yep, we've got two children. Yep, everybody's unanimous on child directed activity for this one. Thank you, good job. How about circle time?
Has to be teacher.
Got teacher, teacher, teacher. Yep, teacher's gonna lead that those activities.
How do you put the word on? I don't know how to do it. I'm not good at the computer. Everybody
okay.
So I am only talking to you.
That's okay. I love it when people talk to me.
I'm not good at that. It's
No worries. I appreciate you participating with us anyway. Yeah, I mean, in the chat box where it says type message here, you can always put your message, your response there, but you are more than welcome to stay unmuted and just respond verbally.
Am I supposed to click that one?
So do you have your chat box open?
No, I don't. I'm scared to touch, to be honest with you. My husband opened for me.
That's okay. You're good. You're great participating exactly as you are. All right, how about an art project? Do we think that that's teacher or child?
Depends on what kind of art project are you talking about?
Yep, you got it. We've got one child, we've got both. Yeah, it depends on what the outcomes we're hoping for. So if we have a specific, like if we give the children specific materials and tell them, make a snowman, that is going to be teacher directed because we're giving them specific materials to use and we have a very specific outcome that we're looking for as well. If we have, you know, for center time, we have some art materials laid out and they're allowed to, you know, use them however they wish and they're allowed to create whatever they wish, then that would be more child directed.
Right.
How about outside play?
Have free choice. There's a child directed.
Yeah. Got it. Ms. Ingram says child. Anybody else? Both. Outside play could be teacher directed if there's a specific game that they're playing together, or if there's a specific activity that the teacher is directing. But majority of the time, outside play is typically child directed. They have, you know, free access to some materials and they're able to play with them however they wish. All right, last one. How about dramatic play?
That is child directed.
The last one, Miss Iris, was dramatic play. Yeah, we've got lots of child. Yeah, dramatic play. They're going to be able to dress up however they want to and play. Great work, ladies. Nice job. Just a final reminder when we're looking and reviewing our personal schedules for our classroom, for best practices when it comes to teacher-directed activities. For toddlers, they should last no longer than 5 to 10 minutes. So that circle time, that story time, the really best practices are 5 to 10 minutes. They really have a hard time sitting still much longer or paying attention much longer. And when we go over that 10-minute mark, we're going to start seeing wiggles. We're going to see kids standing up, trying to walk away, you know, not engaged, and we're going to start seeing challenging behaviors. For preschoolers, the best practice here is going to be no more than 10 to 20 minutes. I usually encourage the teachers I support to try and keep around that 15-minute mark, really, because when you start getting up to 20 minutes, that's really pushing it. So these are going to be best practices to think about when you are reviewing your own schedules in your classroom. All right, anybody have any questions or thoughts or concerns, anything they want to add? Okay, here's what we're going to do next. We are how to perform child-guided activities, being that each child has something different she would like to do. Yeah, we can go through some examples of what our daily schedule might look like. But when it comes to like creating centers around our lesson plans, and then allowing children choices on which centers they want to participate in. Those might be different ways that we encourage child-directed activities and things that they like to do. Okay, here's what we're going to do next. We're going to go into breakout rooms, and we're going to be in the breakout rooms for about 3 minutes, and we're just going to have a short discussion on what are some of your current successes or challenges when it comes to your daily schedule. And this might open up discussion back and forth between teachers here on things they do that work really well or things they don't do that they want to try out. What's going to happen is that when I put you into your breakout rooms, you're going to see a box that looks just like this, and you're going to click that blue button to join the breakout room. When it comes time for you to come back into the main room, typically it will bring you back automatically, but if for whatever reason you need to leave your breakout room sooner than when we close the room, you'll see at the bottom right hand corner it'll say leave room, and if you click that blue button when you're ready, you can click the blue button that says leave breakout room. If you click the gray button that says leave meeting, you'll be pushed out of the Zoom and you'll have to come join us back. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, so when we're going into our breakout rooms, we're going to take a minute to review your current schedule and think through, is there that balance of teacher directed and child directed? Are there areas for changing your schedule? Or are there any specific successes and challenges with your schedule? Let me get our breakout rooms ready real quick.
Why is mine giving me problems?
All right, let me get you guys in.
I don't know what's going on. I'm having trouble with mine.
Oh, let me see.
Am I supposed to see somebody? or just,
No, you're good. I'm still putting the breakout rooms together. Give me just a second.
Why is mine doing this? Stop it, Jet.
Okay, we're going to go into our breakout rooms, and you guys will be back in about 3 minutes. And I'll see you guys when you get back.
Mine didn't.
That she said that she could only type because I guess they're sleeping or something.
All right, I think everybody is back. How was our discussion in our breakout rooms?
You give us a
Good.
minute.
Our discussion went really well. Ms. Chung shared how she sets her schedule up. Well, she's retired now, but she would set her schedule up to kind of a little differently each year to more so meet the needs of the children in the classroom.
I can't.
So more so like following their
I'm on my
lead.
Zoom class and I can't get off my Zoom.
Okay, very awesome.
Mhm. And
Okay, well, up to 2 o'clock. I'm on the Zoom class.
I'm sorry, Miss Allison shared with us that she tries to like more so keep a consistent
You let her know.
schedule throughout the year. Like she said, the children know what to expect, and it helps her cut down on challenging behaviors. So she tries to stay consistent. It gets hard when parents are dropping off in the middle of her like teacher directed activity, which can make it go a little bit longer. But other than that, everyone says their schedule is pretty balanced.
Awesome, good to hear. Thanks, Ms. Shy. Anything from our other room? Okay. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and go through some strategies for using, and yep, Ms. Julia can definitely provide some amazing insight. I'm glad you were able to converse with her about your schedule. So now we're going to go into strategies for teaching our daily schedule. Yep, thank you. Sorry, Miss Elizabeth. I hope that the closed caption is helpful for you. All right. For our visual schedules, we have a couple of strategies that we're going to look at here. So our first one, let me go back. Our first one, we want to make sure that we post and follow the schedule. So remember that, putting it at eye level with words and pictures. For some of our teachers, they use cartoon pictures for their schedule. Others take actual photos of the children in their classroom doing the activities and use the children's photos for their schedule. It depends on, what you prefer. Even for infants and toddlers, we'll look at an example of a first then schedule here for infants and toddlers, and there can still be pictures of the schedule that are going to be on little cue cards that we can show to them in reference throughout the day. And that's going to lead into our second point here, referring to it. So talk about your daily schedule during large groups, during small groups and transitions. Really is going to help with those transitions. 1 more minute of free play, and then we're going to go clean up for snack. So point to your picture of free play and then point to your picture of snack. That way they know this is what we're doing. This is what's coming next. When we refer to it over and over again, they're going to understand what those pictures represent, and they're going to be able to understand, what's about to come next. And especially when you start teaching it to preschool students, they're going to start teaching their friends. If you have a new student in the classroom and you've gone over this visual schedule time after time after time, a new kid comes in, they're going to be able to point to it and say, oh, this is what we're doing next. We're about to go to lunchtime. Have a calendar helper when you have toddlers or preschool students. Have them point to the calendar, or have them flip the cards over. We'll look at some specific examples of what these look like here. For some students, we might have to individualize instruction. So this is going to look like the teacher has one particular student who needs support, and the teacher is going to walk the student over to the visual schedule and point to the picture in order to prepare the child for a transition. We also might use those little cue cards, the visual cue cards, to show the child who needs support. That way we can prepare them ahead of their peers for the transition that's about to come. And then finally, encouraging children's efforts. So use that positive descriptive feedback to really encourage the behaviors we want to see. For example, Kayla, you're following directions by lining up to go outside, telling them what they're doing that's really awesome, or what you want to keep seeing them doing, and really encourage those behaviors that we see in the classroom. Couple components of a visual schedule. We want to make sure, again, it's at children's eye level. So if it's a preschool class, make sure that it's low enough that they can see it. For infants and toddlers, that might be the first then schedule. We'll look at an example of those. We want to make sure that there's text on the pictures so that this helps create a print-rich environment. And eventually children are going to learn that that text means something, it stands for something just like the picture does. As I stated before, pictures to help it become visual, make it kind of come alive, and that can either be clip art or cartoons, again, or we take actual photos of the children we have in our classroom to create those pictures, create that visual schedule. We want to make sure it's easy to follow. We're going to look at some examples here of some items that aren't quite easy to follow and limited in number. We don't want a visual schedule that starts halfway up the wall and goes all the way down to the floor. That's hard to follow for really anybody. And you would end up, spending a lot more time shifting your little arrow on your visual schedule than you would actually in those activities. And then age appropriate, making sure that we're using language that's age appropriate. We're going to go to diapers. We're going to go to lunch. Instead of it's meal time or, we have to get you cleaned up. Just using very simple language for children to understand what's about to occur. And then we want to make sure that it's flexible. So how many of you guys have had to stay inside when it was a rainy day? Yeah. How many of you guys had an activity planned for your kids and you forgot to get one of the art supply items? Things just happen. We have a kid who's sick or we get sick and we have to leave for the day. So we want to make sure that while our schedule is consistent, that there is still some flexibility to it because things happen, life happens. So, if we need to make changes, we want to make sure to communicate those changes to our children ahead of time if possible. But we might use our visual schedule with Velcro, or we might use a little clothespin clip to indicate, we're going to have to change this part of our schedule today. So some examples of these visual schedules. Okay, just a second here. This is an example of a visual schedule. It's very simple. We've got cartoon pictures going on here, with it's easily stated morning meeting centers, lunch, nap, snack, and then as they complete the activity, they're going to be able to take it off of the visual schedule to indicate that it's done for the day. This one's a little bit crazy though. This one has lots of pictures going on, and we even see a little folder down here at the bottom with even more pictures that they could use. This particular teacher chose to take pictures of the real life things to use in her visual schedule, but we might encourage this teacher to kind of narrow it down a little bit further. But it does have the text and it does have the pictures. It does look like it might be a little bit higher than eye level. We see there's a mirror down to the bottom left-hand side of the picture here, and the visual schedule's a little higher than that. So this might not be at students' eye level. So that might be another consideration for this teacher. This one goes from top to bottom, back to the top, back to the bottom, and we've got 14 different activities going on here. This teacher again used real life photos, and it's very colorful. It's got text, it's got the time. For children, the time does not need to be listed on our visual schedules because that's not something that's developmentally appropriate for them yet. But I think that the visuals are really nicely done here. This also might be considered to narrow down a little bit further. So those are going to be some of our examples here. Let me show you a quick video on this one teacher teaching the schedule. Let me make sure I'm sharing my sound. And watching this teacher, just see what kind of strategies they use in order to teach the schedule. See if I can get it to go.
Let's talk about our schedule when we get there. Right now, our arrival is done. What about circle? It's done. Not quite yet. We got some time. Then we go to play court and the bathroom, where we sit down to eat lunch. After lunch, we'll go to story time. And then after story time, during story time, we're going to talk about handwriting, letters G and H, right here. And after handwriting, we go to the gym. After gym, we'll go to play court and then the bathroom. What do we do after we wash our hands? Right here. What's this one? Snack. Then we'll go to snack.
And brush our teeth.
Brush our teeth. Thanks, DJ.
And go home.
Circle and then go home.
I said that first.
All right, so what strategies did we see this teacher use to teach this schedule?
He talked about it. He also used like hand signs, like
Mhm.
multiple different varying ways of learning to make sure like auditory talking too. So
Yeah, all done, right? We're almost all done. Pointing to the visual schedule. The children were also
Yeah.
engaged in this review too.
Yeah.
Yep, movement, engagement. Right. Obviously, this would be more of an older classroom with the child engagement. We wouldn't really expect infants to respond to questions like these. But we could certainly still point at it and still talk about it to the infants and still, tell them what's coming up. And they like us talking to them all day. Okay. He also did discuss a change in the schedule here with the gym. So that was important before they even started their day for them to know that there would be a change in that schedule. Okay, so for our younger students or those students who might need more individualized instruction around visual schedules, so this could be our dual language learners, this could be our children who might have disabilities or delays. This is going to be an example of a first then schedule. So we've got a couple different pieces going on here. The big piece of paper says first, and then there's then, and then we've got certain cue cards with pictures on them. We indicate for first with what's happening right now. And then we put the visual card for what's about to happen. So first we're going to be in snack, then we're going to go to centers. And that helps keep that time really at the forefront of the child's brain. Because if we have an infant or if we have a child with a disability, they're not going to be able to think through the actual whole schedule of the day. So what's right here and right now and what's about to happen is the most important for them in that moment. We also see on the left-hand side, we've got a little key ring that has also the different cue cards on it. And that can be put on your belt buckle or your pants. The one we have in the picture is actually retractable, so we can take it out at any time, show the kids, here's where we are, here's what's about to happen next. So even if we're outside or even if we're in a different section than our home classroom, we still have access to those cue cards to show our students who might be younger or who might need that more individualized instruction. This is going to be an example of a turn-taking schedule. So for students or there might be certain centers in your classroom that have higher popularity. For example, in this case, it's a computer. And we can identify that there are 4 students waiting to get the computer and can add their name to the list while they're waiting for their turn. And this just helps them see, I'm going to have my turn. It's almost my turn. I'm up next. I'm going to wait and play while my turn is coming up. So this helps with turn taking a little bit. I love rainy days, said no teacher ever. So like we kind of mentioned before, sometimes there might be changes to the schedule, whether it's staffing, a teacher called out sick or something happened. Again, available materials, we forgot to pick something up from the store for a particular art project. The weather's not looking great. There's many different reasons why we might have to make a change to our schedule. And when we do have to make those changes, we want to think through a couple things, preparing the children ahead of time. That might be an announcement at large group. That might be a change in the visual schedule. That might also be just a gentle reminder throughout the day. That could also be a stop sign on part of our visual schedule to indicate that we're not going to be there. But, for children who have disabilities, specifically, children with autism, changes in the schedule can be a very big trigger for challenging behavior. So by preparing them ahead of time for that change, we're going to be able to support them a little bit better. Okay, so here's what we're going to do next. We are going to go into a quick breakout room, about 2 minutes for this one. You're going to decide one strategy that you're going to try over this next week and just discuss it with your peers in your breakout room. We're going to come back, do a quick recap, give you guys some resources, give you guys the evaluation, and then we'll be done for the day. So let me go ahead and get you guys back in your breakout rooms. Does anybody have any questions while I'm getting those set up? Okay, I'll see you guys back here in about 2 minutes. All right, ladies, we are, let me double check. Yes, we are still good to go. Okay, we are wrapping up real quick. So does anybody have anything they want to share from their breakout room discussion?
Okay.
I was talking early, talking about Allison, talking about her classroom sharing computer. But it's the best way for me. I was in classroom. I used a timer. Timer. I set everybody same timer. Then I put a number. Whoever name is go down, I scratch it out. The next person go.
Okay.
And I let the kid know. So I said, this time is ring. It's gonna be your turn. This time ring, your turn. So they never fight. They always know. So you are gonna be so and so after so and so. Let the child know that. Then they expect who's finished. Expect they're gonna go up there. So it helps them not to fight. It helps me. I know who needs to go next. So write down name and then timer. That's my timer. It's a lifesaver inside the classroom.
I completely agree with you. Timers, especially when one that rings, can really help kids be more patient for their turn. For some kids who don't like the ringing sound, even a sand timer really helps too.
But I don't have problem with the ring, but I have. It just makes me sanity, not fighting over everybody.
Of course. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to share?
I was just sharing about how we got the new computers and right before BPK started, and then boom, I had 19 kids. So what helped me today was I'm definitely going to make one of those schedules where they could see their name and everything, because what I was explaining in our small group is my kids that come in at 7:30, I give them like 10, 15 minutes on there. And then as they come in, everybody gets at least 10, 15 minute time, but they don't understand by 10 o'clock. They say, I wasn't on the computer. I said, oh yeah, you're on at 7:30. No, I wasn't. Well, yeah. So visually making that schedule is going to help me where they can visually, I don't have a wall space, but I'll find one. That was my big thing for today, seeing that. So it's going to help a lot. I have the timers too. I have both the sand timer and the timer, like the egg timer, but they tend to turn it if I'm not looking or I'm a different center. Or they'll turn the dial.
Yeah,
And they say, no, it didn't ding, it didn't ding.
goodness
So,
gracious.
but yeah, I appreciate that scheduling.
Of course. Thanks for sharing this, Allison.
You're
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and be mindful of our time. I'm gonna wrap us up. So we've got a couple resources for you for today. We're also gonna send a follow-up email with these resources in them. So we have one that's gonna be daily schedules, and it's just gonna give you a lot of the same tips and tricks that we talked about in today's session. That was one we created here at the Early Learning Coalition. The second one is gonna come from the National Center for Pyramid Model Implementation, or NCPMI. This is going to be a document on visual supports for routines, schedules, and transitions. Again, just some further tips and tricks for you in creating your visual schedules and using and teaching them. We are going to wrap up for today. So today we did a couple things. We were very successful in these couple things as well. We were able to define what daily schedules are, discuss why they're so important. We shared strategies for teaching the schedules, and you guys identified a next step for yourself in order to use these in your classroom. So again, my name is Lexi Lungiri. I have on with me Ms. Shai. She's our wonderful transformer professional development coach here at the Early Learning Coalition. This is our contact information in case you need us. If you have any needs as far as help in creating your visual schedule, we are more than happy to print, laminate, cut, anything that you'd like, or if you want to schedule a time to come to the Early Learning Coalition and use our materials, you're welcome to do that as well. We are, in order to get in-service hours only applies to those that are here today in person. We are recording this session so that other teachers who can't attend at these times can still watch the training material, still watch the training so that they get the information. But in order to get in service, you do have to be here in person. So for your in service today, we're going to drop the evaluation link in the chat box. When you fill out this link, whatever email address you put in the evaluation is what email your in-service certificate is going to be mailed to. So as soon as you finish your evaluation and you hit that submit button, it will go to your email. Check your spam box. Sometimes it does like to go in there, but you guys do get 1 hour of in-service for attending today. And that feedback allows us to, get ideas on future trainings or what went well with today's session or what we could do better. So that feedback is very valuable. We do look at it, we do use it. So please do those evaluations. And by filling out that evaluation, that's how you get your in-service. Does anybody have any questions? Yep, we will be sending a PDF version of this PowerPoint to those that attended today. You guys will receive a follow-up email from Ms. Shai. She'll include the resources. She'll include the PDF version of today's training slides, as well as the link to the evaluation. So if you don't have time to complete the evaluation right this second, just get that evaluation completed by Friday. And if you fill out the evaluation, you will be entered into a raffle drawing for a fun little prize for just attending and giving us your time. We'll go ahead and stop sharing. Does anybody have any questions or concerns right now?